You have a cool hat. Yeah. Yes. All right. Welcome, anybody and everybody, to Brooklyn Bound Podcast. I'm very excited to be talking to Paulina Michels of Troika Percussion. How's it going, Paulina?
It's going so great.
Yeah.
Happy to be here talking to you. All's well. All's
All's
well.
well. You having your morning coffee?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
In
In front of
my,
that. What's that?
it's my little abuela cup.
Nice. It's a beautiful cup.
It's just the tiniest little cup of coffee.
Oh, I love it. And we've been catching up for a second before I push record, but I didn't ask you about the guitar on the wall. Is this do you also play?
No, I have a housemate who plays lots of string instruments. So these are his guitars and mandolin in here.
I see. Yeah. Okay, cool. I saw something up there. Yeah. My wall is right here. My partner Beth plays things like banjo and guitar, and that's I should have set up in front of it, Paulina. That would have been more of a symmetrical kind of hang.
Next
but
time.
I just think I kept my hat on to shout out your cool hat. I feel like there's some symmetry happening.
Next time we chat, we can set it up so that both of us have the banjo behind us.
Like that would be the way to go. Yeah. And maybe we could talk beforehand about what style hat you're wearing, so I could mirror that.
I do have a nice bucket hat downstairs that I could have changed into.
Maybe halfway through this podcast, we both go change, and I get my beanie and you put on a bucket hat, and then it's like,
Perfect.
I kind of love it. So is this fall vibes in Seattle? Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's starting to get like a little bit drizzly every once in a while. Leaves have changed. Lots of good smells in the air.
Yeah. Well, it was cool to hear a little bit about what you have going on in Seattle. I'm psyched for this. There's a bunch of Michael Gordon's Timber happening in Seattle. Everybody who's listening here. So anybody who's out that way, you got to go see it. When's the show?
First one is this upcoming Saturday at Seattle Sculpture Park.
Oh, and then, no way.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. We're doing it outside, weather permitting, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple shows in early December at Base.
Amazing. What's that? Is that the hall at the university, Base?
No, it's just like a show venue in town.
Cool. Yeah. I'm ignorant to the Seattle scene. I do not want to be, but my brother lived there for a second. Is there Green Lake?
Green Lake. Yeah, Green Lake is the thing. There's also Lake Union and Lake Washington. There's a lot of lakes.
Yeah. Green Lake. He lived near Green Lake.
Yeah.
And I would go running out there when I stayed with him. And just the number of, I just felt like everybody was walking there with coffee in their hand. It was just like, I don't know. It felt like this is what you do in Seattle. I'm going to go for a walk, coffee around the lake.
Absolutely. Lots of walking around lakes.
Yeah. Okay, well, enough about Seattle. Enough about timber. I'm really psyched for this conversation because maybe a week ago or last Thursday on the Brooklyn Bound we did a video of a piece of mine, 9 number 7, that so recorded with Troika. And thanks for talking to me about it, Paulina. I think I was saying that I feel like this is an amazingly selfish conversation because I'm so excited to start to dig into this music again. And there's a release, a double LP release coming out on Cantaloupe Music in February. And 9 number 7 was one that's never been played in real life yet. And this felt like a first time to get out into the world. So thanks for having this conversation.
Yeah, I am actually pretty excited to talk about it. I was re-listening to it after the Brooklyn Bound last week, and having all of these flashbacks to the preparation for it and the date it was recorded, and it's just it's gonna be cool.
Also, tell me about the preparation. I find myself naturally surrounded by Sudoku stuff right now. So 9 numbers is all based on Sudoku, and me and Beth were practicing a dance that we're making to this. And I imagine this is the same Sudoku that you had to speak incredibly fast in this piece of music. And I was struck. I feel like I'm learning about percussion, and I knew that in making this piece, there was going to be the things that were hard to do very fast that I imagined you and Casey and Shelby would be able to do and down to do, and then there were going to be the slower things that so percussion was going to be doing. And I think just at the end, we all had to speak pretty fast together. So it was just like, I remember being in these recording sessions with, Josh and Adam and Eric being like, okay, it's just a little bit, we have to speak fast. We can do it, like Paulina already did it very quickly. So what was, before I just wax on about the way the piece is put together or whatever, I'm totally curious. What was your preparation like? So
Oh gosh. Yeah, so much slow speaking. As somebody who trips over words an awful lot and trips over numbers an awful lot, I spent a lot of time just, okay. I keep wanting to say 8675309. I know that's not the number.
8675. I love that.
Yeah.
Is that hidden somewhere in the recording? Like if we listen close enough, will we hear 867?
Yeah, if we play it backwards.
Yeah. I love that.
So much slow speaking. And then the elongated zzz, I remember really struggling with keeping that pitch consistent and having to spend a lot of time just walking around going zzz, zzz.
So like I'm realizing, occasionally I realize that, something we do is not percussion, right? Like I didn't think about the fact that like this septet is all just for speaking. And that didn't feel weird at all until I think about it in retrograde or something and being like, oh yeah, right. Like I'm not even sure we really talked about that, like, meaning it doesn't have to be percussionists that do a speaking thing, but there's something really natural to putting this piece together with percussionists. It made a lot of sense. And there's kind of like a history of a lot of vocal kind of stuff, oftentimes with playing. Like, was that was that a weird thing to take on, or does it feel like you've done a lot of spoken stuff in the past, so probably not so weird?
No, I think it was still a little bit weird because it was my dog has joined the podcast.
Hi, doggy.
First time I think that I did a piece that was strictly speaking. So that it felt a little bit exposed and vulnerable to not have an instrument in front of me to kind of cover up when I was biffing it on the words.
Which never happened. There was no biffing on the words.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Like what other spoken stuff would you have done? Like usually be playing, like there's I don't know, like Jeffsky stuff,
Yeah, or there's a couple Annie Lockwood pieces, like she has one that's for snare drum, Amazonia Dreaming, that's got some vocalization with it as well. And then we actually, as a trio, played this piece by Fong Tran a couple years ago that had a lot of very percussive speaking throughout. Just screaming about choices. And so that was kind of a similar vein as this, but there we all had a really nice big setup to kind of hide behind and help with that articulation and help with the timing of everything.
So the way, as you know, but just for context, the way all of these pieces work, they all start off, and it's kind of funny to listen through the record. They all start off the same way, basically where we're saying words on some level, saying this is a puzzle, the puzzle is, and then speaking all of these numbers. And this piece, basically, that's all that happens, is that these words are said in different ways and different rhythms. And then when you mentioned the zzz and the s, like basically the middle of the piece, you all have to hold just incredibly long, like just holding these consonant sounds of zzz or s. And maybe there's two different ways that you're saying s or something. I know there's three different sounds you have to make, like a s, sh, something, but incredibly long periods of time where you have to hold these sounds.
Yeah, that was tough. I very distinctly remember Casey having no problem with it, which absolutely amazing. And I felt like I was just fumbling through and just running out of breath constantly and trying to squeeze every little bit of air out of my lungs. But I'm sure if we were maybe vocally trained people, it probably wouldn't have been a huge deal, but it was definitely a surprising challenge with this one.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't know Casey too well before this recording session. I think I learned a lot about her in this session.
Yeah.
Like it felt like I got
Yeah.
this. Don't mess with me. Like, very not I can't come in and just lay it. She's like Eric, maybe. In our group, that's Eric or something,
Hmm.
Why are you not having a hard time with that long? That doesn't make any sense, Casey. I don't, is
Yeah.
it like what's her vibe? Like, is it just was that practice and preparation, or is that
Yeah. Casey is a very nonchalant, very put together musician.
yeah.
Just calmest, chillest person ever. Shows up and she's like, yes, I got this. Here we go. On to the next thing. Let's go.
Yeah.
She's just, yeah, always on it. She and Shelby both are. They're really phenomenal musicians and just, I don't know. I always feel like I'm catching up to them.
Oh, come on. From what I knew you before this session through Sosi and Shelby, of course, I've known through being in the show world. So just mentioning Casey because I think that was the first time we really got to hang. But don't sell yourself short here, Paulina. Maybe just more. You're more of a my vibe, which is less of, I don't know. It's a different vibe than Eric and Casey. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, good.
Got a good camaraderie here.
Absolutely, yeah. We found the right troika person to be talking. I found the right troika person. So I was gonna say, listening back to when we did it on the Brooklyn Bound, we were using the latest mix, and I was remembering having a lot of fun with John Lowe who engineered it and mixed it. It was one of the only times on the album that we brought in some processing in this way, and I don't know how that hits you when you listen for the first time, where like sometimes some things will be moving, or he like used a little bit of fun processing on the zzz to turn it almost into like some weirder tape music at moments.
Yeah.
Like a little older school, yeah. But there's like, we would never do this, but it ended up being so fun where you just get like a zzz, like like move from one ear to the other. I'm not sure how that hit you. How do you like it?
I actually did not hear the one ear to the other because I listened to it over speakers and it didn't hit the same way.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear that though. That sounds really
Yeah.
interesting and kind of trippy.
Yeah.
The processing though, it almost sounded at times like the zzz turned into this weird kind of ambient fly sound, like a fly in your ear.
Yeah.
And I had a nightmare the other day about some bed bugs. And when I listened to this, it kind of triggered a memory.
No.
In like a really cool way. In a really cool way. It was very like, oh, that's cool that this sound could bring about such a memory.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really, really interesting that you guys did those kinds of changes and messed with the recordings in that way. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. He had a lot of fun there. It was cool to see him because this, everything else on the album has percussion instruments involved. So either pitches or at least sounds. And this is so stark. That was really fun. So I think I was showing you this before we talked, but I can't wait for you to see the album cover because I kind of made these collages, like one for each of them, and I forget there's some method to the madness. This is like part of the Sudoku, I guess. This is nine squares of the Sudoku, but when we did this video, anybody who's had a chance to see the Brooklyn Bound, this was if it wasn't clear, this was the score cover that was making all the kind of weird video vibes. And actually I was really happy on the show. I don't know if you noticed in the chat, Robin Jacob, who's really, really fun composer who's on the show, she shouted out some Rothko vibes with this. So I'm feeling it. But yeah, Paulina, we made I got the score together so we can get that out for other people to play someday. Though I feel like we have to figure out how to do it live before anybody else does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are we gonna do it? When are we doing it? Seattle? New York?
Yeah, you guys coming to Seattle? Let's do
Yes,
it.
sometime actually, sometime. That's true. Next year, that's true. Maybe easier for you to come out this way though.
Yeah, there's a lot more of you over there than there are over here. Yeah, okay. I gotta come east.
So I've been trying to picture it. We on the Brooklyn Bound series last year, we did Stay on It for the first time, and I was talking. Do you know Jan Williams? Do you know the
Yeah,
Yeah,
Buffalo, right?
totally. And so he was in that scene and played on the premiere of Stay on It, and it was really cool to talk to him about it. But he was talking about all these like vocal pieces he did of Joey Seasman's back then, where they would just sit on stage with a microphone. And I started to picture like, oh, this will be really fun when we can do it. How can we set this up? It'll be really cool. You know, the role that the three of you have in the piece is very different than the role that the four of us have. And you know, I started to get excited about how we could all have a microphone and set up in some super awesome way to do the piece. You in?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'll start working on my elongated Z's now.
I know, it's breath support, right? We'll start working on our breath.
Yeah.
Very cool. I was so grateful when you all were in town, I think, to do a show at SOSI, right? Is how we made the recording happen. I think you all played some awesome music at SOSI, which was wonderful. So grateful for that session. Anything else you remember about the session that you can pass on as we take this podcast out?
I remember that there was a really wonderful pit bull in the studio. And that made it, I don't remember the dog's name, but I remember her laying underneath the table, like hanging out by all of the wires and cables. And
was it Georgia? Was my dog? It was black pit bull?
Yeah. Was it Georgia?
What? I think it was Georgia. That's amazing because I need to bring her to SOSI more, and that's such a memorable moment. I remember taking pictures of that. I remember taking pictures of that.
I also took a lot of pictures of that.
That's really good. Yay. That's really good. What else? These are good. These are happy. These are happy memories. We usually go out on these Brooklyn Bound podcasts with some happy in-person kind of memories. That's
yeah, lots of sitting back on the floor and just like being kind of mind blown by how everybody else just was busting through the numbers. That was also really cool, really exciting. And I felt like it was just a calm environment. We were just hanging out and having a good time recording this really cool piece.
That's what I remember too, Paulina. Is I'm happy you had a chill and good experience too. Saying numbers fast is not my thing. I imagine. I wonder. We can go back and look at the take sheet and see who had the most takes to get their numbers down.
I'm sure it was me.
No. I'm pretty sure it'll fall on the sub side, which is really good. Well, awesome. Thanks for having this convo, Paulina. It's really, really, really cool. And thanks for jumping in on this project. I think over the course of the fall, we'll be doing a little bit more 9-number stuff. And this was the first one we got out there. So thanks for chatting.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason.
Absolutely. Let's hang soon.
All right.
See you later. Bye.